How long did it take you to get to 40,000?
It's the easiest part. I'm not afraid to fail. I drive towards failure every single day. I'll try new things.
And when you started, why did you choose the newsletter or the email versus like going social?
I just see a newsletter as like content, growth, monetization. I write every single newsletter, which I haven't missed one in almost 2.5 years, in a way that I'd be excited to receive it.
So I was going to ask you, like, what's easier, growing it or selling, monetizing it? To you, they both seem pretty easy.
It's not. Everything funnels back to community. Everything I do is about bringing people together, making them feel more connected to this place. I don't want to be a newsletter. I want to be a much larger company. It was born out of my desire to really connect with the community and help build the community.
Welcome back to another episode of Audience Bridge Insights. Today's guest is someone who's actually building the newsletter ecosystem, not just talking about it. Michael Kauffman is the founder of Catskill Crew, a popular local newsletter serving one of the country's most unique destination towns. He also the creator of the Newsletter Club and is part of the Letter Trader, newsletter trading marketplace where you buy and sell newsletters. So I'm very happy to have him. I'm going to go through a lot of stuff as far as local newsletter, growing the brand, building the brand, and then into his community building and how he's helping people grow their own stuff. And then we'll get into some of the financial stuff as far as buying and selling your assets. They are assets, obviously. They're businesses, they're companies. Michael, great to have you on the show.
Pumped to be here. Let's get into this. Let's see where we end up. I've had 4 coffees. I was jamming to some like 80s rock right before this. I'm ready. I'm energized.
Did you take an Adderall too?
God, no. I can't handle that. My drugs of choice right now are caffeine and I guess cold beer, but I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, I don't think that's caffeine. So let's get started with I've been following you for a while now, at least the last year and a half. Love what you've been doing with your local brand, Catskill Crew, and how you've grown it and the creative things you've been doing with this. So I'm kind of excited to dig into that for the audience. What made you start the Catskills Crew? What was like the beginning of it? Why did you think there was a need for it in your area versus whatever traditional media may have been there?
Yeah. I think, I've been building startups for 15 years, all different types of things, beverage companies, technology companies, you name it. I even was crazy enough to start an HR company once, never had a real job, don't know what I was doing. But I think, reflecting back, I just loved making things. And in college, I started my first company. It was, a beverage company. It was before pitch decks. It was, business plans that were 45 pages. And I wasn't obsessed with the product there. I was obsessed with the process of creation. The idea that you can have an idea and make it a reality. And it almost became like, now I see it as like an art form in many ways. And so, I had all these startups and I was struggling with some capital raising for like 2 years. And then, I was just like, I don't really care about what I'm actually building. I'm pouring my heart and soul into it. And I always joke that I can't half-ass anything. I full-ass it. And I was like, full-ass and everything. And I was like, I don't care about this product. I just want to make something. I was desperate to make that next thing. And yeah, I was excited in general to kind of have this idea and make it a reality. But I wasn't infatuated by the final offering. And we all know this is like, if you're building anything, you're going to live, breathe, and hopefully die building it. And so I was out west fly fishing in Montana and I was having a full-on existential crisis of like, what the hell am I going to do next? Am I even a founder? When you're a founder or an entrepreneur, you're not building something. When you're an artist and you're not creating something, for me, it's very uneasy. And so sitting there bagging trout, having a wonderful time, catch and release barbless hooks. And I was like, you know what? I just need to build something for the sake of building it. It has to be for me. I don't want to have to capital raise. And it has to be a platform where I could build more in time. And so I never started a newsletter. I never wrote a newsletter. I didn't really follow much in trad media here in the Catskills, but I knew it. I loved the Catskills. And so, dumb enough. And after a couple beers, I said, screw it. I went on Mailer Lite. Now I'm on Beehive. And, I started the process. And the only thing that has stayed the same is the font of which I wrote Catskill Crew, and since then everything has changed. But it was born out of my own desire to create something. It was born out of my desire to really connect with the community and help build the community. These trad media companies, they're not community builders. They're most of the time pay-for-play advertising vehicles where the subscriber is just eyeballs. And I'm going to hit your inbox as much as possible. And I operate with like treat subscribers like I'd want to be treated. I write every single newsletter, which I haven't missed one in almost 2.5 years. In a way that I'd be excited to receive it. I try to keep changing it up, because it should change. Things should evolve. And, so that was kind of the birth. It was out of just my desire to see this thing come to life.
Awesome. And what would you say the differences between your newsletter as far as what you're providing, the information you're putting out there, your voice versus like a normal local media brand or news that makes you guys stand out?
It's tricky, right? Because I hear it from other people all the time, but they know I care. Right? I think that authenticity can't be done by AI. It can't be done by a VA. Maybe a ghostwriter can get away with it for a little bit, but at some point, you are the feeder. You are the passion. You are the creator of this thing. And I don't think you can outsource that. I live, breathe, and die Catskill Crew. I care deeply about it. I care more about the subscribers than the advertisers. That's true. I don't care if I have to lose six figures this year doing it. That's what keeps me engaged. And, this isn't a business that I'm trying to maximize profit whatsoever. And I think that is reflected positively. I think the fact that it's just insanely creative and weird. I'm not afraid to fail. I fully, I drive towards failure every single day. I'll try new things. I'll get quirky. And I think most importantly, people know that I am a local. I'm doing this because I care deeply, but they are not blind participants of this content. They're not just consuming it. They have a hand on the wheel. They're driving the direction. And, as a subscriber, that's how I'd want to participate. Keyword participate in the community itself.
Right. And who's the Catskill Crew actually for? I mean, you have locals, you have tourists, second home owners. How do you think about that?
Yeah, it's funny. It's very divisive up here, right? The locals do not usually not all the time, but let's just call it friction, and there's chafing between vacationers, weekenders, locals, price increases, ski mountains getting acquired by, private entities and they become clubs, waters getting bought by private fly fishing clubs and being shut down to locals. That is a delicate balance. But, first and foremost, this is for whoever it resonates with. I'm just going to write from my heart and soul. I'm going to tell stories about fishing. I'm going to highlight the folks that make this place special. And I think what's crazy is I didn't intend for this to resonate with anyone. I was blown away when I would throw a party and, a local who's 90 years old who just got a hip transplant, showed up, and a kid who's 20 years old who I'm sneaking beers to the 20-year-old and I'm pouring double strength Negronis for the woman who just had a hip transplant, and it's this is really special. Everyone was coming together. And I think at the end of the day, if I had to define what Catskill Crew is in one word, community. Everything funnels back to community. Everything I do is about bringing people together and making them feel, hopefully, more connected to this place. It's history, it's nature, the folks around here. And so it's a local media company, local product company, local events company, local company. And that just so happens to resonate with everyone. But that's tricky, right? To be a community company, you have to prioritize community. I'll say no to advertisers all day long, ones who are trying to buy 150 acres and throw a bunch of condos down, and they're just write a couple good words and send out an email blast. I'm I don't do email blasts. I don't care how much money you have. And two, no, I don't think your condo complex is actually good for the Catskills. But if I took that money, I would be destroying the community and what makes me love this company and what I'm building so much.
Right. And what's the population in the Catskill area?
Beats me. I hate data. It's big, so I am 2.5 hours east to west. Dare I say 3 hours east to west, and about 2.5 hours north to south. And, the center of the Catskills is a big forest. There's only a couple people in it. So everyone's around the ring. And then I even bleed outside the Catskills, which drives a couple people mental. But if I could drive to that place, it still counts. So I go into Hudson Valley, but 42,000 subscribers. I have ads off right now just because it's nice to kind of not have to look at the Zuckerberg machine all the time. Right. But, I don't see why this couldn't grow to six figures in subscribers, let alone the number of weekenders and vacationers that come up here.
Right. How long did it take you to get to the 40,000 that you're at now?
Easy. It's the easiest part. It's I'm not an expert on growth, and there are some pros, and I would not bash them at all. They are damn good at what they do. But I grew to 4,500 subscribers in like, I don't know, 8 months, 9 months, just grinding it out, posting on Instagram. I hate Instagram. It was killing me to go on there, but I was just riding the coattails of existing businesses. And then, a buddy of mine was like, let's spin up some ads, dude. And I was like, I was intimidated, to be quite honest. Like the Zuckerberg dashboard is scary. And, I started putting a couple tokens into the old machine and the number was going up and it was going to the right. And, pretty quickly, I would say like within a year, I was at 40,000 subscribers. I had CAC as low as 8 cents and as high as 80 cents. On average, I would say even at 42,000 subscribers, I'm averaging 30 cents a subscriber. And, I'm doing negative CAC now.
The local
Different
cost
game.
acquisition on these channels, especially Facebook, is out of control because like some of the other stuff that I'm doing, if you're getting to like $1.50, you're like lucky.
And I'm just screwing around, right? Like I am not optimizing this at all. So like if I brought in a pro, like, I don't know. Like
I don't know if it's getting better. I just think local is, if you have the perfect fit, like I don't think it matters how good the buyer is. Facebook is optimizing it on its own for you. So they're seeing what you're doing. And if your product fits that area, it's like, it's a no-brainer. It's not just you. I've talked to numerous different local media operators and they all do the same thing. They're super low cost acquisition, which amazing. It's awesome. Great opportunity. I can't boggle my mind. If I could get that like on a national level or something, it'd be, dream come true. But, I think like the pursuit of negative CAC has always been one of my North Stars here. But, as you grow, look, I'm not here like cleaning my list all the time either. Like I think local is very different than, another focused media, industry and whatnot. Like I'm not, hard selling local businesses. They just email me and they go, hey, can we partner up? I go, sure. We have a 60-second call and we close the deal because they're subscribers. They know me. I've been to their business. But I think, what most people see is like quantity does not equate to quality. If we're sitting there having a beer together, you're like, dude, you got to check out this newsletter. Like, I'm all in. I'm like, dude, he likes it. I'm paying attention. That is, primary inbox. I'm going to star it versus, I just see another ad, in a sea of ads. Like now you're going to have to earn my trust. You're going to have to make me care. And when you started, why did you choose the newsletter or the email versus like going social or starting just a website with,
I think you have more, again, like I come from, I don't have a Facebook.
I think your storm might have dissipated. You're like clear as a, or you're like grainy. So.
I'm back. I think Instagram and Facebook, like these are platforms where I don't play with them to begin with. So I wanted to at least be creating something on a platform that I enjoyed. I thought it was a challenge in and of itself. And Instagram seemed like a sea of noise. I thought I have more flexibility and possibility and upside building a newsletter. To be quite honest, it's more intimidating as well. Like, what the hell am I doing? How am I setting this thing up? But these tools make it so easy now. And I think, I didn't let that perfection be a headwind. I still let it be a tailwind that's pushing me forward over time. But the idea that I could, yes, own my audience, as we've all heard a billion times, but I just think it's a more intimate connection. And I think like the most intimate is SMS, or now I'm sending letters directly to people's, mailboxes.
You're jumping ahead of the conversation.
Yeah.
I had that on here. I saw your tweet this morning about snail mail, but we'll touch on that too. You kind of talked about this already in the beginning of the chat as far as like, how you view your audience and then kind of how you're selling. So I was going to ask you, like, what's easier, growing it or selling, monetizing it? And it just seems like to you, they both seem pretty easy.
I don't know. Like it's not. And like, I don't want to come off as like, I'm, this is all a walk in the park. It's not. I just live and breathe and deeply care about what I'm building. And I'm thinking about it 24/7, legitimately. The only time I'm not thinking about it is if I'm standing on a river and a trout is rising. Like that's the only time my brain drifts off to something else. Like I don't know, am I screwed up or not? The other founders listen to this can judge that. And, but I think like you break it down, I just see a newsletter as like content, growth, monetization. I find growth to be the easiest thing. I put money into something and the number goes up. Now, my content is going to be the determinant of, are those people going to stick around, or did I just pay and they're going to churn right off? And that content is going to be the funnel into how I monetize, because I use creative monetization. I go far beyond ads. But with ads, I would say 99% of them are inbound. Dare I say 100%. It's people messaging me saying, hey, we love your newsletter. Can we advertise this thing? If it was crappy content, one, that business owner's not subscribing. They would have already dropped off. Two, they sure as hell are not going to put money behind this to advertise on it. And three, their advertising wouldn't do anything because I would just have generic gray content, in a bigger sea of noise. And I think monetization is tricky, especially when it's a community-based company. I have to say no all the time. And I'm a solopreneur, so it's also kind of this delicate dance of, hey, I'm gonna really focus on physical products for 3 months. And all right, I'm tired of that. I'm gonna turn that off for a little bit, chill, no new products coming in, and I'm gonna focus on ads. All right, now let's bring in a ton of ads. Let's scale that out for 6 months. We're good. You know what? Now I feel a little disconnected from my community. Let's put on a ton of events. Let me go hang out with these folks. I made some of my best friends in life through the newsletter itself, and supported. Hopefully someone's getting married through Catskill Crew this year. Like, that's my goal. So it's finding that balance across the board, but none of it's easy.
And when you do get your local advertisers, like, what do they care about? What's their KPI that they know that it's worked for them? And have you had any advertisers re-up and do multiple campaigns with you because it's been so successful?
No, there's definitely been tons of advertisers who keep coming around, or they buy, one slot and then they're like, all right, let's buy 25. I'm always changing how I work with advertisers the same way too. I wouldn't even call these strong beliefs loosely held. Like, I'm just like, and let's switch it up. Let's try something different. Let's try something new. So it was originally me sitting in my barber's chair and I had 200 subscribers. I was like, hey, Sam, you want to advertise in Catskill Crew? And she's like, sure, how much? And I'm like, yeah, $100. She's like, deal. So, $100 to reach 200 people that are die hard. I was like, all right, so CPM, CPCs. I didn't know what the hell I'm doing. I still don't follow the CPM, CPC. I think there should be a multiplier on the more niche you are, in my opinion. Yeah. And the depth and quality of your subscribers. And I don't think a metric of open rate is necessarily
I think flat rate's the best way to go.
I love a flat rate. I love working with different businesses to find what that flat rate is. I offer sliding scale. If you're an independent business owner that has a flower farm, like, hey, can you afford $500? No? Can you afford $250? No? All right, don't worry about it. I'll hook you up. Like, you're my neighbor. I'm going to hook you up. I want you to have massive, successful business. One, because that's just who I am as a human. Two, hopefully, you tell someone that you had a good experience with me. But it's really one before. But yeah, it's funny. Like, I've changed the format of ads a million times. I've had sponsored by at the top. I've had 4 sponsored by and sold 4 packages. So that was a couple $1,000 early on. I was blown away. It was the mental unlock that people would give me money for this thing. And then, now I have the bulletin, which is, I just glaze over ads. I think most subscribers glaze over ads. And so I was obsessed. I had my wonderful friend Quinn, who there's no way he's listening to this, but Quinn is a realtor, and Quinn is the most handsome gay man I know on planet Earth. He doesn't have a pore. He's perfect. He's bronze. And we're having a martini. I'm like, Quinn, advertising the newsletter, man. Like, I want a realtor. And he's like, all right, how much? I think I charged him like $2,000 or something. And the following Monday, he's like, here's my headshot. He's looking tan. He's got this pink shirt. I'm like, Quinn, I can't put this in the newsletter. Like, I don't do photos. Like, it's all black. I have this aesthetic I go for, man. He's like, I paid. Like, deal with it. And I was like, crap. So I put Quinn's headshot in. I was like, never again, buddy. And so that actually led me to the creation of what I called the bulletin. So it was like, one, how do I fit multiple ads in one place? Old-timey bulletin, like classified section. How do I make it on brand? How do I make it exciting? How do I make this a place where your ad could live alongside a breakdown of the bite force of a coyote and, what kind of fishing reports happening now and words like unscramble, like games. Right. And so it's kind of like this little fun place. And, a ton of people have now launched that. And found an incredible amount of success. There were some weeks where I was making $8,000 off the bulletin itself, just a bunch of small businesses. Just, hey, can we do this? Yeah, here's a stripe, like $500. All right, pay for it. All right, pop it in. And I was blown away, and it was like, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I think it's coming up with multiple formats with advertisers that work for your brand. And, yes, understanding what kind of full circle to what your question was, KPIs. What the hell is their goal? That's all that matters. And when I was starting out, I didn't know enough to ask and deeply understand what that goal was and structure ad campaigns that really drive to that. But yeah, I think
I remember talking with Ryan Heffy over at 6 a.m. City, and them saying that one of their most popular, one of their biggest money channels, like their event section, or kind of like the bulletin, like a little section, like people just paid, like, and it's literally just like lines code, and like he's got it. They have their whole system tech that they developed, so it's all automated. People just can go in and like buy it like themselves, and it automatically shows up. But do you guys charge for like event promotions or anything like that?
Totally free to put your event in there. I just can't guarantee it'll make it. You submit it, and that's kind of like, look, I'm not going to create any financial barrier to entry for a business. That's it. It actually takes away from the subscriber experience. If you're an awesome, operator who's doing whatever, some great event this week, and I'm like, hey, dude, it's $250, and you're like, I can't afford that. Well, I know my subscribers want to hear about your event, so now I'm prioritizing that $250 over 42,000 people's experience for this weekend. So my approach is just, look, it is totally free to list your event. I just can't guarantee it's going to make it. If you want to guarantee your listing, it's $500. If you can't afford $500 and I like what you're doing, you better believe I'm just going to hook it up for you for free. Like, again, it's not about max profit. I should start a side hustle where every single thing is about max profit. Scratch both itches.
Who's going to do Catskill then?
That's true.
So you kind of touched on this about like, switching from advertisers to then doing your product stuff, then event advertising, all these things. From what I've seen, like out of everyone doing things, you've been very creative with your product creations for the media stuff. You created Catskillopoly, you did the puzzle. I'm not sure what other things you know. Those are two that I've seen recently that stand out. I know they've been very, very successful, according to what you've been sharing. Is there what monetization ideas out there sound good but don't actually work, or you tried and they just totally bombed?
Tons, man, tons. But I think it's why you're doing it. So like the reason I started creative monetization was just because I was talking to my friend who was I think it was the barber again, actually. And I was like, hey, I have 1,000 subscribers now. You want to pay $500? No. $250? No. And I was like, all right, well, what's the point? Like, literally didn't have the money. And I was like, what's the point of me pumping money into growth if I've already hit kind of a ceiling for, what I can charge? Of course I could go high LTV businesses and, target dentists and chiropractors and brokers, but it was just like that initial moment, I was too small to really target those guys. And so it's like, wow, what the hell can I do to bring in a couple grand this month, with 1,000 subscribers? And I had the dumb idea, and pretty much all my ideas I say will be dumb. I had the dumb idea, like I'm like pull straight, is throw an event, throw a happy hour on a Tuesday, see if I could bring some people together. I always saw it as a community, and we crushed it. It was 40 tickets sold for $25 a pop, and a bunch of people, locals, got a discount for a hotel room, and we had a damn good time. And all these business owners were like, can you do this for us? The bar made $7,000 on a Tuesday, and I was like, I guess I can, maybe. And so that led me into like more, all right, let's think outside the box. Let's think beyond ads. And, I'd say like I've done everything from discount cards. A lot of local media companies have started these discount cards. Don't do it. That's not why I did it. I didn't do it for the revenue. People aren't buying those for 10% off. They're buying it to support your business. For me, it was about, I don't want to be a newsletter. I want to be a much larger company. So the idea of going from your inbox to your wallet to a piece of artwork that hangs on your wall. I want Catskill Crew everywhere. It's a holding company. And, I'd say like the board games came about as like, I was in Taos, New Mexico fishing, shocking. And they had all these board games. And they were all just terrible, like different businesses on there. I was like, there's so many ways to do this better. So I brought it to my community. I said, hey, you guys want these things? And they said, yes, great. Now I'm not selling, I'm delivering what they want. I have the validation that there is something there. The beauty is with these physical products, I have all these business owners there. So I said, hey, if anyone wants to sell these in their stores, reach out. These games are a six-figure business in and of themselves. So people are buying them, great. Then I ordered a ton more. I mean, pallets were arriving. My second bedroom was taken over and I didn't sell. I sold like 12 on day one of the newsletter going out versus like 700. And I was like, oh shit, like I'm in trouble now. And so I asked businesses if you guys want to carry these. And they're like, sure. And so I moved those in no time. And now I have, wholesale customers are, the business is making money. They have great margins on it. Customers are discovering Catskill Crew in a different way, in a different place. It's going straight into their home. But I try everything. For me, I've never paid for a premium subscription for any newsletter. And so my idea was a piece of mail that goes to your door. So I asked if anyone wanted this thing, and 1,000 people said yes. And so I made this, and each one of these costs $25 to send. I used to do subscription. I stopped that. I can get into that later. It was time consuming from a software standpoint. So now each one is $25. It all feeds back into community. You get an event with an invite with a drink ticket, and every season will be different. This one has wildflower seeds and a guide to how to plant wildflower seeds, but think outside the box. Create things that you'd want to create. Pay close attention. Don't be afraid to fail. Get weird with it. Find inspiration in different places. What's old is new again. People are desperate for snail mail. It's hard work. It's different, but it's my premium subscription.
So they're paying, what are they paying? $25? How does that work?
It's going to be, so this is the winter edition. Just mailed out a couple hundred more today. It's $25. That envelope will end up at your door. Then, in April, I'll probably launch the spring edition. There's some subscribers from the past, like 200 again, but now I've shifted into the one-time purchase mode. $25. It'll be sent to you. I don't want to trap people into subscriptions. I don't like subscriptions. People forget. And also, again, like the software, Shopify subscription software is horrendous. It's the bane of my existence.
And so they're going to pay $25 one time for life, or is that?
Every single letter is $25. I plant a tree for every single one that goes out. Because out of 1,000 people, I'd say about 12 said no, that they don't support this. So I messaged all 12 and they all said they don't want to kill trees. So I said, all right, out of these 12 people, we could do some good. We could plant willows around the rivers, secure the soil from erosion. We could plant the American chestnut, which they're pushing really hard to make a resurrection here in the Catskills. Like, we could do some good here as well. And so I'm going to do a full tree planting report at the end of the year. I'll probably turn that into a big event for people to go out. I'll get a beer sponsor. We'll bring the community together and plant some trees. And it's like, that's the coolest thing.
You gotta put a tree finder on the website now.
The tree finder, is that an app that you scan the tree?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying, put a map and start marking the trees so that people can go and
little plaques. We'll do little brass plaques on each tree.
You can do little scavenger hunt,
I
put
love
stuff
it.
on under every tree.
Don't challenge me with a good, weird time, man. That's what I do.
Awesome. Well, super impressed with all the stuff you're doing there. And obviously, as you've been explaining and showing, is that you're more about the experience and the subscriber happiness than, just turning a profit. But now I'm going to start transitioning to some of your other ventures you're doing. And you've been talking about a lot of event communities, all, what the Catskill is. Now you have the community, the newsletter club. So I wanted to go into that. What made you think that there was something missing that you could fill the gap, fill the void for to launch the newsletter club?
Yeah. I mean, again, out of my sheer desire, I wanted it. I'm a solopreneur who's building alone. Right. And so it's just actually, I called a buddy of mine. I was like, I think I had 5,000 subscribers or something. And I closed a $10,000 deal. He's like, holy crap, man. We're going to build a course. We're going to start selling a course. And I was like, I don't really like courses too much, but I like community. And so I had this idea that kind of slowly was born. And, I started the newsletter club, which is a community of local media operators, the most diehard of diehard, the best of the best. And, I started charging for people to come in. Why did I charge? Because I wanted them to be serious, to let anyone in. You don't have a community. You have a circus and a lot of monkeys. And so I was charging, I think $99 for the first 25 folks. And then I started learning. They were learning from me. We were learning collectively. We're running different markets. We have different North Stars. but we're trying to grow a list, put out good content, and monetize. So we all started working on this thing. We had weekly calls. We still have weekly calls. We put together master classes. Now it's like 215, 220 media operators, local media operators from around the world. All different skill sets, all different strategies and approaches. Some people are building one community or one market. Others have dozens across the whole world. But it was born out of a desire not to build alone, to compound learning, to help other people. But like, I'm being helped through the process too. So, we just had a masterclass recording about content structure yesterday. We had our weekly call yesterday, and tomorrow we have a Q&A in office hours where I just pop in and answer as many questions as I can. But it's a wonderful place. The feedback's been incredible. I'm blown away by it, to be quite honest.
Where are you managing to deal with the Slack channel? Do you have
Discord?
Zoom?
It's Discord, shockingly.
Discord.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried Slack. I didn't think it was structured correctly. I started a Discord. Messy, complicated. Discord, not the best user experience. And someone was like, you should start a school or a circle. And I was like, okay. Spent a weekend bringing all the content over, sent out invites to like 25 of the members. No one showed up. Eventually, 2 people showed up. I asked questions. It would be 3 days between responses. Axed it. Discord, when you post something, you get a response immediately. And that's what this is about. So at any given time, there's probably 40 members online. We have diehards who are there every day. We have lurkers. We have everything in between. But, we're all supporting one another toward our end goal. Yeah, it's funny.
And, inside this community, and obviously you're talking to tons of people, what do the successful ones operators have in common?
I think they care deeply. I don't think you can fake this, man. They care. They're showing up every time. They're showing up every day. They're thinking outside the box. They're trying new monetization strategies. It's not, I've seen it all. I've seen people who are really good at branding, who are really bad at the data. I've seen people who are really good at the content, who suck at the branding. It doesn't matter what your strengths are. Triple down on your strength, outsource your weakness, and just consistently keep showing up. Don't let perfection be the headwind. Just keep working towards it. And, we've had some folks who've been at it for years, and they join TNC, and within 3 months, they break 6 figures. And we're all learning together. Someone will try a new monetization strategy in their market, and it's like, cool. Some people are copy pasting it. Other people are like, especially me, like, okay, that's pretty cool, but it's off brand for me, or it doesn't light me up, and it seems like a money grab. But there's something there. What is it? And so I don't throw out the bad ideas. I kind of sit with them for a little while and kind of re-articulate them and restructure them. And it's like, that's pretty cool. So it's amazing. Like tonight, we have the dinner club. 110 community subscribers are coming out. Crew members, this is Catskill Crew, are coming out to dinner. They all get matched up with 5 other diners, subscribers, and then we find out where the after party is, and everyone meets up. All the tables converge at this one place, and this is the second one. And I found out about this business through the newsletter club, and now I run the dinner club, and it's been a hit. Advertisers want to sponsor just the dinner club, and I believe there's probably easy $60,000 with I could probably close a deal in one call, because this is so important and vital to the community. And these businesses are recognizing it's not how much money you spend on marketing, it's how you market. And, now we're seeing, and I'm sure you're seeing, it's like what 2026 marketing is all about. It's like, advertising is going to get tougher in newsletters. It's all about IRL. It's always been IRL. We're a bunch of monkeys that fell out of trees. Like, we need to hang out. This isn't socializing for us. Like, I think every brand should be, and company, how do we bring people together? How do you build a community? That is your moat. That is your magnet. That is everything. A little bit of a ramble there. I'll take a sip of water.
I mean, it's good. So as far as the IRLs and, in real life, have you done one yet for the newsletter club? Are you planning on doing an in-person event for the whole crew somewhere?
TNC NYC. We're all meeting up in New York City in February. I'm coming down the mountain. And, keeping it super casual. I think it's just, I don't want this, I'm up there with a PowerPoint presentation. We're going out, we're having some drinks, we're going to dinner, we're having a good time. This is a community. It is about connection. I think hopefully we'll have about 20 of us out there, but they're coming from all over the country. And I think that's really cool. That's amazing. And I think, I want to do more IRL with the TNC side of things, and got a quite quite a bit more in the hopper there, but like bringing people together is what lights me up. It always has been. So I just got to lean into what I'm best at.
Are you going to any events coming up outside of your own stuff?
No. I'm busy, man.
You're busy enough. You got enough stuff. I'll be in Austin in what, a month and a half or something.
Send me a picture of some good tacos and, everyone wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I'll be up here freezing my ass off. I would love to. I really want to get out there more, but between some family stuff with the health and, just straight up work, I'm hosting events all the time. So, the big thing for me in 2026 is, as a solopreneur, how do I scale? Not necessarily myself. I don't think that's possible, but how do I scale the possibilities here? And all of these things are platforms, they are communities. So giving other people the ability to support these operations, it's already taken form in contributors for content. And I pay many of these contributors to create content for the newsletter. That saves me time. But how do I bring some other folks in? And, that doesn't look like a job post on Indeed. That's the folks who are your biggest diehard fans. And so probably on Tuesday, I'm going to announce that Catskill Crew is going to make its first hire. And we'll see who shows up. We'll see who responds. It's time.
Are you still a solopreneur at that point?
I think so. I own the company, right? Like, I think that's the funny part is like, where does solopreneur, if you have a VA, is that a solopreneur? At the end of the day, I used to think I sucked at delegating, but I just have really high standards and I find difficulty compromising there. And I don't think I should. And so my whole approach with how I make this hire is, not rushing it, finding the absolute perfect person. I don't care about your resume. It's the energy. It's going to be some key questions. You got to be a little weird. You got to think outside the box. Like, how would you approach this? You need to find folks who really match the ethos of the company you're building. But it's going to be really about, like, this was platform setting. Now it's about scaling.
It feels like you need someone with passion. And in my opinion, someone who's local, because that's the whole brand, right?
Critical. You can't have a VA do these jobs. You need someone who's able to be part of the community and the conduit for that. Speak the language.
Are there any mistakes that you see the operators in this newsletter club doing over and over again, or like it not necessarily the same person doing it over again, but like a new person comes in, they're making the same mistake or something? Like, what kind of mistake do these people make?
Dude, all the time. No, I wouldn't bash anyone who's making the same mistake all the time over time. I don't even think anyone's doing that. But, what I usually see early on is, when you join TNC, you have a one-on-one onboarding call with me. I'm always available, but like, we're going to jump into it. And usually I'm going to talk about, what are your goals? Like, forget everything else. We could talk about content, monetization, growth. What the hell are you building this thing for? That is your North Star. And we didn't know which way to orient, because there's a million playbooks you can run. So what I usually see is like, someone will join, they'll be like, I'm trying to make some passive money. Like, this is going to take work. Like, to really like replace your job, this is going to take work. Can you turn this into 10K a month? For sure. But no one's joining TNC to make 10K a month. They're joining to turn this into a multi-six-figure business. And the first thing, no matter which stage they come in at, anyone who's sending 5 times a week, they're already burnt out. They're exhausted. They're running this model because it's a trad model of, I've sold too many ads. I've filled my ad slots. Now I'm going to launch another cadence and then another cadence. And then I'm going to have 5 newsletters going out. And it's prioritizing the advertiser over the subscriber. Every send should count, at least in my opinion. Every send should matter. So, really kind of focusing in on maximum value per send and then scaling out, because there's a lot of folks who have burned out and even sold their newsletters because they were sending 5 times a week and they just didn't. I think I would plug a toaster in and draw a bath if I was sending 5 times a week. I said once a week.
How many times you sending? Just once?
One time a week. And, maybe that changes, but right now, for 2.5 years, I've been sending 1 time a week. I think it's always, I want this to really be a moment of, I don't even send an email blast if a product goes live or if I make a screw up. Like, 1 time a week, that's all you'll hear from me. Might change.
What day are you sending?
Tuesday. Again, this isn't science. I used to do Mondays, and then it got hard to aggregate events. So I just said, all right, Tuesdays. I send at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays, not because it probably drives the most opens, but because that's when I get it done. I work on it all the time, and Tuesdays when it gets done, and people look forward to it. And, I've heard countless times, it's like a warm hug. It's like, my neighbor coming by to say what's up. And it's like, that's what I want it to be like. I want to ease you into this thing. I want it to be, nothing but positivity. And so mistakes, cadences, way too many, not enough value, burnout. I would say the other thing is their CAC is insane. I've had people join where their CAC for local is $1.50, and they join, and some folks have spent $20,000 growing this thing, and they haven't hit send yet. And so they join the newsletter club, and they're like, all right, I'm ready to go. I have the audience. I'm like, all right, wait, you have 20,000 subscribers. You never hit send. What was your CAC? $1.20. I'm like, oh, crap, we're in trouble now. And they're like, I need to monetize today. And I'm like, you're not monetizing today. You're not going to get a return on investment on day one. What you need to do is build trust. You need to find your voice. You need to position yourself within the market. Yep. And so, I'd say really getting low CAC. And then I would say just creating meaningful content, I would close out on. There's a lot of local media operators who are just upcycling news, upcycling events, putting the weather breakdown, having a premium subscriber, and you get a birthday shout out. Dude, who cares about that? No one cares about that. No one wants 3 news articles from other resources. No one cares about the weather. We got a phone right here. No one wants a birthday shout out. I get a call from my mom. I want to give you money because I support your operation, because your content is awesome, because I like you. So find a niche. Every community can have 100 local media companies, in my opinion. Why has Trad Media failed? Because they prioritized advertisers over subscribers. As a result, the quality of their content went down the crapper. And so they had to send more. The quality wasn't good. Subscribers weren't going to pay for that and got upgraded premium. Okay, people are trying to run the same model again. It's not going to end well. Wow, people, create something different. Own a niche. For me, it's kind of a little all over, but it's in general outdoors. It's history. It's nature. I guess that's outdoors. Right. It's the community itself. Sometimes I touch on food. I did the burger quest, the hunt for the best burger in the Catskills. It was diabolical. I spent $2,500 eating burgers in the Catskills. My cholesterol was through the roof. My doctor was concerned, but people loved it.
Did you check your cholesterol before you started and after? What was that, Super Size Me? Did you ever see that documentary?
Yeah, that guy's he's not around anymore. I had to cut the burgers out quick. Yeah, I think
should have just chucked bison burgers or something a little more lean.
How about veggie burgers now? But the people want something different. You don't have to be an expert writer. You'll find your voice in time, but don't do what's been done before that we know won't work.
I'm gonna not know if you're gonna have really any answers to this or not, but as a deliverability expert, I do a lot of high volume. I think you touched earlier that it's a little different in the local game, you believe, but have you come across any email deliverability issues during this journey?
Deliverability issues, yes, but nothing major. It feels again, I don't get into the data too much, but in the newsletter club, I would say absolutely. There's been some ebbs and flows. There's been some Yahoo blocked this entire domain from sending, and no one's getting it. And then 24 hours, it's yep, it's all fixed. They all went out. And so, one of the things that was, I didn't really even know that was possible. This idea of those could be blocked. When I was first starting out, it was if I hit send and maybe I'll end up in spam, but it always gets delivered. Right. So yeah, I think that, and I don't know if that gets better. I don't know if that gets worse. I'm not the industry expert, but yeah, people have experienced it. It doesn't feel consistent. It feels like these little kind of outages, so to speak, that then the power comes back on and those go back out.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for it to happen. I deal with it on a daily basis because of the nature of the beast. And working with high volume, we're talking about, subscriber, lists with millions of subscribers, sending out multiple times a day. It gets pretty crazy. Which is another thing, with you guys, you're only sending once a week. So it's probably not as crazy. And how you were saying before, don't send 4 or 5, keep on sending. You start doing that, that's probably when you're going to start seeing more deliverability problems.
Absolutely.
You're oversending, your engagement's going to go down. What the engagement you're seeing now, that one send, if you sent 4, it would crater. Like it would boost.
I completely agree.
boost
You
up.
know, and to your point, like, you know, I'm sending once a week, right? Like this is only going to arrive in your inbox every Tuesday at roughly 4 p.m. Like, so, you know, if I probably increase this to 5 times a week, would I see these outages more often? Well, very likely. And you know, one of these big points is in terms of like, where is the puck going? You know, I think there's always the discussion of what's next. What's that more intimate form of communication? What is the next kind of de-riskment? You know, as
Right.
people move off of getting deplatformed, they own their audience. Then I think it's like, all right, is there going to be email deliverability issues? Well, what does SMS look like? You know, all right, is that hard? Like, you know, now I have, not to sound creepy, but like literally home addresses I'm sending these to.
Right.
And, you know, I think SMS is a very interesting platform and the next extension for a lot of media brands. However, most are doing it wrong. How many SMS, you know, messages do you get from companies every week? And I'd say 9 out of 10 of them are terrible. It's, you know, new product drop 30% off right now, or, you know, we're
Right.
having a XYZ discount.
The problem right now is that SMS is very expensive to
Yes.
send. So people, you know, they're just trying to monetize it to get their money back. Basically, they're not looking for, you know, the trust building or the strength of the subscriber to enhance everything else. They're just looking at like, I'm going to send this and I got to make the money back. So, you know, they're sending the offer out, they're sending a discount out. Like they don't
Make a money sandwich. Make a money sandwich.
Right. A lot of people that are doing that are sending a lot more often. Not like doing like once a week.
Yeah.
Like they're sending constantly. And then you can't send SMS every day like that. I mean, I've seen bills. Matt Paulson on Market Beat, I think his SMS bill was like 600 grand 1 month or something ridiculous.
But he's a beast on another level altogether, flying
Yeah,
32,000 feet above.
It was crazy. And
I think though, you know, the reason why, like whether it's MMS or SMS, offer something of value, put some good content in, spend more for MMS, put a video in, put something, storytelling, engagement, then have an offer, then close it out with another kind of like the other bun. And then you could actually get negative CAC. You could also integrate a sponsor in there. So every send, you're already making money on day one, but it better be a good brand.
I think for local, it makes sense for you especially. Like, I mean, you could totally do it to, you know, everyone sign up and you can just do a pop-up of that, right? Hey guys, we're going freaking here and see how many people show up. Like out of the blue. So it's just random. It's not like something they're expecting. You know, that's the right way, I think, to do it. We're running kind of to the back of it. I don't know if you have a hard stop, but I do want to touch base on the final venture you're working on, which is a letter trader, which is a marketplace to buy and sell newsletters. And I think there's a few, I guess you could say, marketplaces out there already. What makes the letter trader kind of stand out amongst those other ones, in your opinion?
Yeah. Letter Trader is actually Deuce, DUUCE, which was the original marketplace for buying and selling newsletters. And the opportunity arose for a couple of us to acquire the asset and to resurrect it, rewrite every single line of code from the ground up with so many years and so many transactions of insight and knowledge working only with newsletters. So that is the only thing Deuce ever did. And so once the acquisition went through, it was, all right, how do we rebuild this thing from scratch? What have been the pain points for buyers and sellers? Usually that's around, the onboarding and the messaging and the back and forth. And well, what other resources and tools can we give to, someone just bought a newsletter? Well, they're probably looking to grow it. They're probably looking to monetize it. They're probably looking for support on a couple fronts on how to now take this asset and really turn it into a cash generating asset for their goals and their portfolio, because in my opinion, there's gold in them hills. There's money in the inbox. And so, supporting from the onboarding to the execution of the sale, and now you own it. I think that's what we're trying to do very differently. And so Letter Trader we just opened the doors back up after months of rebuilding the code, rebranding this thing. Areli, who is the CEO of the company, was running point with Deuce for a long time. And so she's taking all this insight, all this knowledge, and now having, the most powerful tools, that are out there to buy and sell newsletters at our disposal. Like, we're really excited for what we're going to build here. But shockingly, this comes down to community. We're not trying to ace it. We're trying to listen and pay attention and support buyers and sellers, whether it's, the independent operator, whether it's private equity who are buying assets to fit into their portfolio. How can we support you further? And this is going to be a game of paying attention, listening, asking, and trying things. So if anyone has any questions there, reach out to me. Like, if you have ideas for how we could support, you buying or selling a newsletter, we're the people. We're trying to build the absolute best.
What metrics do you say that a buyer is looking for the most when they're making an acquisition?
I think it depends. I think a lot of people go right for list size, right? Like, what is the list size? And it's so personal. In my opinion, what I look for is, what is the content niche first and foremost? Like, is it an interesting content niche? Look at the content that they've written. Is it good? Is it engaging? Is it special? I think a lot of people get it wrong where it's like, oh, there's 10,000 subscribers. Nice. Well, the open rate's 45%. Okay, well, that's not that nice. So you're paying for the whole list. You should be paying I would only want to pay for that engaged subscriber base.
Right.
Then I think one of the things so many people get wrong is they list it as an asset for sale and then they stop sending. And it could be a day before it gets acquired. It could be a year. And so the attrition rate's going to go through the roof. People are not going to be paying attention to this asset. You need to stay consistent. But the issue is most people are selling when they've reached burnout. And so they're just like, I don't care. Take it, fire sale. Yeah. So I think it's about, what is that niche? How is the content quality been? Do you think you can easily, either kind of restructure this newsletter into yours or, offer something new? Do you think you can level it up? If they haven't been monetizing, what happened there? A lot of people can grow these audiences very quickly. They could spin up some good content, but the reason they fail is because they can't monetize. And, like, ad networks are great and everything like that, but I think you have to go beyond that. You have to put the business hat on and go, okay, what else can I do here? And it is amazing how many huge opportunities there are for super niche newsletters. I just think it comes down to, like, buy these assets, but ideally speak the language a little bit. Like, I can't buy, pediatric dentist newsletter. I wouldn't be able to speak the language, but
right.
There is a dentist out there who knows that audience. And if there's 5,000 folks in there, like, offering some sort of credential or some expert course or something like that, and there's a high ticket item there that could easily be a 7-figure business. So it's about looking at what's out there and staying creative with it all.
So as far as the buyers go, what's the most common type of buyer that's out there? Is it someone that's looking to acquire an actual revenue generating business to take control? Is it someone who's trying to, like you said, would you say not upsell it, but upcycle it, whatever it is, make it, improve it, and then monetize it off that? They see the opportunity, so we're getting like a underappreciated asset kind of, and looking to scale because of that. They're merging it in with the rest of their portfolio.
A rally would be the best one for this, but in my opinion, in my experience, what I've seen is it really falls into, look, you have private equity out there, but I think it really falls into two. You have the solopreneur who's just looking for another asset that they could cycle in, whether that fits their portfolio or not. They have some systems in place. They know how to monetize. They're trying new things. They're offering high ticket or low ticket items, and they're looking to create some revenue off of it. I think the best performers, in my opinion, are the ones who have a format, have a formula. They might have a fintech newsletter, and it's like, cool, let me get this. This is another corner of the marketplace, and we already have an offer. We could plug directly into them, or they're buying that list and integrating it directly into theirs. The ones that excite me the most right now are the ones who have that high ticket or low ticket offer. They have a language, they speak it, they know their brand, and now they're trying to extend that offer to another corner of a market, another corner of an industry. And so they're kind of just taking that offer, they're rewrapping it and plugging into a new market. And like, I know some folks crushing it with that, and it's really cool to witness. I'm not doing it, but I'm watching them, and it's amazing what they're building. But not it's taking time, a lot of time.
Not a tie kind of the two together. Has anyone offered, or have you thought about selling Catskill Crew, or has anyone offered to buy it from you already?
There's been 3 acquisition offers for Catskill Crew. I'm not selling. The first one happened really early on, like 8 months in or something like that. And, my response was like, shit, no, but I'm open to partnerships. The second one came about where it was a local business owner, and, after a long night, he's like, I want to make an investment in Catskill Crew. And I was like, interesting. Let's have a conversation later. And we ended up sitting down, and he's like, actually, I'd rather just acquire it. And I was like, I don't need investment. I was actually showing up to say I don't need investment. It didn't unlock anything that I couldn't do already. And so, said no to that. And then the third one was the most recent, which was an acquisition offer. To be honest, I think I would be really bored if I sold this thing. And I think that this is and has always been a platform of fun, a creative canvas, and a local holding company for me. So we're buying commercial real estate now. We're investing in local entrepreneurs. I'm looking to do a lot more and think outside the box for what's possible here.
And then what's one thing that you would recommend or someone should do if they are planning to sell their newsletter?
Don't slack. Don't. It's tricky because usually if you are thinking of selling, you are already tired. But don't stop hitting send. Don't stop nurturing that audience, because as that attrition comes through, as that churn continues to increase, you are losing value in that asset itself. The number of newsletters out there that don't even have a general, and most aren't even doing, there's some incredible assets that are making zero revenue right now, and they're listed on Letter Trader. It's like, man, just keep hitting send. Keep hitting send, work with a sponsorship network, bring in some dollars. You will drastically increase that asset's value. But it's tricky. It's tough. But, I think be honest about your metrics, because you can't lie about it once you start going into due diligence. Right. The number of folks that oh no, our open rate's 65%. You look at them and it's like, it's 42. It's like, well, it was 65. It's like, was. But, I'd say the biggest thing is just try to get your revenue as high as possible and then list it.
All right. I guess you want to sell it on the way up. You don't want to sell it on the way down.
Ideally, you want to sell it on the way up, and possibly find partners who will come in and help monetize or write the content while you list it, so it can continue to appreciate, as you're trying to actually offload it. But that's delicate and it's complicated, and everyone's situation is different.
Cool. And to wrap it up, where can everyone find you? And is there anything you want to plug in here?
You can find me in the Catskills on Twitter, X.
On the river, doing some fishing.
Ideally on the river. X, it's Mikey Pesto. thenewsletter.club if you're interested in learning more there about local media. But reach out, LinkedIn, I'm on there. You can find me around. Happy to chat with anyone, everyone. Always looking to connect.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll have all those links in the descriptions, for all those ventures, as well as the social profiles. Michael, thanks for your time. It's a great conversation. Love what you're doing. Very excited. I see big things coming down the road.
Chris, thanks for having me, man. It was a blast.
Appreciate it. Talk soon.
Ciao.